So emptiness does not mean nothing. It does not mean, some people say, oh, emptiness, that's the same as impermanence. So a long time ago, Zen Master Sung was asked a question. I just saw this written up, I wasn't there. But it was like back in the 70s, and someone asked him a question that began, since everything is originally, since everything is impermanent, and he stopped the questioner and he said, where'd you get that? Everything is originally emptiness. So emptiness is not the same as impermanence. Emptiness is not the same as no self nature, which you guys already talked about with Yuval. Emptiness is empty, okay? So the way to think of emptiness, it's like the quantum mechanical view of space. And this is just a metaphor, so don't take it literally. But in quantum physics, space is not inert. Things are constantly coming out of space. They're constantly being created by space. You have all these tiny particles and all these things that come out of space and then collapse again. And so it's this very fertile, kind of fecund kind of place. And emptiness is kind of like that. So Nagarjuna is very big. So you have the absolute and you have the relative. That's very big in Buddhism and a lot of other places. And because of emptiness, the absolute and the relative come together. So the relative is, in some sense, the expression of the absolute. They come together. They're not opposed to each other. So it's not like you sit on a mountaintop in samadhi and you've attained emptiness and that's wonderful. You still have to act in the world. So emptiness is this, it's the absolute, but it's also the complete world. And Zen Master Sung uses this phrase, complete world. Also truth. Zen Master Sung talks a lot about truth. So truth is established by emptiness. And also this universal substance, you know, when he talks about the cookie dough and all that kind of stuff, this universal substance in some sense is emptiness, except emptiness is not a substance because it itself is empty, right? And you cannot make logical sense of this. You just can't. Because our mind, our logic did not evolve in order to make sense of this. Our logic evolved in order to help us function, in order to help us stay alive, in order to help us, you know, hide from the tigers and kill the wildebeests or whatever it was we were doing. It did not evolve in order to see things as they really are. But so there's this very important concept of emptiness. And the middle way is not too hot, not too cold. It's not Goldilocks. The middle way means not exist and not exist. The basic thing is whatever you say is false. So this is, emptiness is all about that. So there's this wonderful poem from the Mumen Kwan. It's the one about the cypress tree in the garden. Words cannot show truth. Speech cannot point into nature. One who holds words is dead. One who attaches to sentences is lost. So emptiness is pointing to that, to don't know. So emptiness is really pointing very strongly to don't know. Also, because emptiness implies, you know, it actually implies like anatma, non-self. It implies impermanence. There's nothing to be permanent, right? Nagarjuna has a lot of stuff on that. Because of that, that allows for mutual interpenetration, codependent origination. What Thich Nhat Hanh calls interbeing. So emptiness allows for this infusion where the Indra's net, where everything is connected with everything else. We are not separate. You know, John Julian may be in Australia and Judy Reutman might be in Kansas, but we are not separate. And one of the questions that came up was about, you know, am I supposed to be good so I'll get a good life in the next lifetime? And do I have to believe in karma and stuff like that? And I'll talk more about that later. But it's this mutual interpenetration, this codependent arising. That's the source of ethics. If Vivian in Montreal and I in Kansas, if we're not separate, then how can I be mean to Vivian? How can I treat her badly? We're not separate. So it's this realization that we're not separate, which comes from emptiness. That's where Buddhist ethics comes from. It has nothing to do with wanting a good rebirth or anything like that. That's Dharma candy, you know. So if you really attain emptiness, then you don't have to ask why you should be good to other people. It's obvious. They're you.